Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about advice for YouTube creators. And no, I am by no means a YouTube advice guru. I'm a consultant primarily focused on small businesses. And YouTube, for most people, should be managed and should be looked at as a small business. Because a lot of people who are YouTube content creators want to become monetized, in other words, be paid by YouTube for their content. And they need to, I believe, get started early on with good business discipline. Get that channel or that venture operating like a small business from the very start. And if you do that, you'll probably be a step ahead. Now, I've got some notes here. I want to follow these notes so that we can go over these points very exacting. So let's move to the first topic that we want to cover today. And let me say this. It is really important to understand the entire universe of YouTube channels. It's estimated that 122 million people use YouTube daily. So what does that say? That says that there is a giant universe of competition in the YouTube world. About 1% of YouTube channels ever get monetized. 1%. It doesn't take much to understand that those are very, very long odds. So let's look at this advice I'm going to give you from that perspective. And when we talk about advice, I think the first thing to do is talk about how you can get any level of advice you want if you just go to YouTube and search a topic. And the advice on managing and growing your YouTube channel is all over the place. It is an amazing thing. And yes, obviously I'm a content creator and I have two other channels that I have operating on YouTube. And occasionally I'll go in and look at some things and try to keep up with the latest trends. But one of the things that I have learned is that YouTube guru advice is basically a rehashing of the same stories or a wild take on something. Let me give you an example. There's an idea that you should download your YouTube video and let it sit for 24 hours. Give the algorithm time to examine it. Then there's other advice that says the algorithm is an incredibly powerful machine. It can analyze it in seconds. Don't worry about that. Completely 180-degree advice. It is an amazing thing to me how there are people out there who talk about generalizations and they have huge views. Most of the people who are considered gurus on YouTube have thousands and thousands of followers and get 300,000 to 500,000 views. And it just amazes me. Somehow they have put their content into the mainstream and have a loyal following, and more power, more credit to them. I just don't personally go for that. I don't think I'm a big fan of just rehashing and repackaging information. And especially when that information is basically meant to drive a channel. I mean, it's not free given advice. It is sign up for my newsletter, buy my private information. I'll give you the real secrets if you'll pay for it. And the other thing is coaching lessons. Now, that is my personal preference. That doesn't mean that I'm against those people doing that. I mean, there's one fellow on YouTube who just walks around outside by a lake and just gives general information. His channel is hugely successful. More power to him. It's just particularly odd and confusing to me how that works out. But I just don't understand it. That's all that means. The next thing we'll talk about is what channels win. In other words, when you say win or monetize and make money from advertisers, in other words, a lot of eyeballs are on those channels. Well, let me give you the channels that I watch. And most of the channels I watch are how-to channels. One of my favorites is Vice Grip Garage. It is just an entertainment hour, and it's unbelievably instructional. The guy goes through his process of reclaiming old vehicles that have been sitting, typically classic trucks and classic cars that a lot of my generation follows and enjoys. So obviously YouTube will be a generational thing. The other channels that I watch are a farm family out in South Dakota called Sunny Farms. And it's Sonne, Sunny Farms. It's very entertaining. Father-son duo, and I think an uncle also work around the farm. And they're incredibly talented, great, salt of the earth people. Another one that I watch on a regular basis is Country View Acres. A couple runs an 80-acre farm, and they take you through that process on a weekly basis. And I find it incredibly entertaining, but also educational. And what that channel or those channels typically say to people, I believe, is, here is something I'm doing. You can do the same thing to different levels or different degrees. They connect with that audience, and they connect with people in a big way. Now, what I would tell you is this. My premise on your YouTube channel is to treat it like a small business, because that's what you're typically going to try to make it. You're going to try to make this thing become a successful business venture, or it's a hobby. And a lot of us who thought monetization would come a lot earlier now treat it more of a hobby, or more of a thing that they do for pleasure, for enjoyment, or trying to say something that is helpful. And I think that's two different levels that you can be very happy or content with your YouTube content creation. But here's something I'll tell you have to do. I believe these are really good points of advice. You have to be consistent. You really have to be out there so that audience knows what you're talking about, and they can count on you being there basically once a week or every other week or every 3 days, whatever your level is. The other thing is you have to be very disciplined. You've got to be there, and you've got to be on point. You have to also not shoot from the hip. I think it's good sometimes. Many of my videos are a little bit of shooting from the hip, but I've gotten more disciplined and better with reading notes, using notes, and laying a story out. I think that's made the content better, and I think that's what people want, a more cohesive story as they look at your video. The most important thing that I've found in comments and people just looking at the channel is to be yourself. Don't try to be somebody you're not, because that really jumps out on camera. It's just a very obvious thing when you're faking your way through. And the most, I think, important thing after that, don't take criticism to heart. You're on the internet. People are going to criticize you. People criticize me for the hats I wear, the glasses I wear, the ties I wear. They say, oh, you're going bald, just to kind of give you a little zinger. Well, I don't think so. Maybe it looks that way on the camera, but who cares? It's just not something that bothers me particularly. But I use those as examples. People can be a little bit snippy on the internet, so don't set yourself up for, aggravation and heartache whenever you're running your YouTube channel. I think the thing that I would most want to convey is how I manage my frustrations. In the beginning, my channel grew really rapidly, up to about 1,400 subscribers. But what I didn't realize was those subscribers were basically the people who want to do a one-for-one subscription. They want to subscribe, so you'll subscribe. I didn't understand YouTube. I had no idea. I just wanted to say some things, and I did. And I was in a great hurry to support my writing career. And yes, I'm an author. You can see those books right there. I write, and this channel talks a lot about writing advice as a small business and YouTube as a small business. So those two things fit together pretty closely. I used to obsess a little bit over YouTube. I obsessed particularly over low views, and I was very frustrated by it. That's the thing I see the most from people complaining or talking about their YouTube channel. They are crushed when a video doesn't do well. They are frustrated and they are angry. And they spend money on thumbnails. They spend money on equipment. And I get it. I was exactly there. And at times I still am. Here's the point. You can use your phone. You can use a simple iPad. You can buy a $100 set of wireless mics, and you can be in business. It's not the equipment. It's what you say and what you do for people. It's what you say that solves a problem or passes information that is helpful. That's the essence of a popular and successful YouTube channel. My desire for this channel is to give consulting advice and have people comment and ask questions, because my business consulting typically is small business oriented and deals an awful lot with the environment or the culture of companies and employee relations. So that's not an ad, that's just how I do these things. And when I manage my own expectations, I'm a lot more content with my own YouTube experience. And I mean that as a positive to you. Understand that it is a slow growth process and it is a very big pond, and we are all pretty small fish in the beginning. If you want this to be successful, you have to be disciplined, you have to stick to it, and you have to maintain that consistency. The other thing that I think is really important is don't believe the get rich quick, this is easy, here's how you can do it, my 4 steps for success advice. It's garbage. YouTube is hard. YouTube success is really hard unless you're just a natural and you fit into something that people love. Let me give you a good example. When I was particularly frustrated with my channel, I was just looking through some trending things, and I happened to happen upon a channel, and it was, and I've told this story on other videos. It was a channel where a guy was filming with obviously his phone, and his phone would be sideways and it would be down and it would be up. And it was not a professional, cinematography effort. It was just him filming. And what he was filming struck me as so odd. He found an old railroad siding, and there were 50 cars, I guess, there. And the cars had been sitting there forever. Railroad cars of various and sundry types. He noticed an old engine moving down the track, and he's filming this. This old, worn out, paint faded engine hooks up to these cars and moves them along the siding. And he zooms in, and the cars had been there so long that trees had grown up between them, small trees. And this movement had pulled them out of the ground, and they're going along with the cars. And I'm sitting there thinking, I work on professional videos with these great advice, and I'm serious and dedicated to my YouTube content. And this guy's out filming old rail cars. Let me see how many views he's got. 350,000 at the time I looked at it. Just blew my mind. It just shocked me. I could not believe that. And I went back and I started doing some YouTube research, just trying to figure out why something like that would happen. And here's the answer. He fit into a niche that people like to watch. They like to see old rail cars and an old engine, and that activity was just fine with them. They loved it. They probably rewatched it over and over. If you think about my preferences, I go back and watch old Vice Grip Garage episodes. I go back and watch some of the old Country View Acres episodes just because I like them and I want to see it again. That's what YouTube is. You find that place that people connect with you, they trust you, and you're telling them something that matters. And success is there. That's just how it is. And it's not a very easy formula to find. The other thing I want to give you a quick example of is how to try to find a content place in your mind with your channel. And I'll relate this to my books. I just published, this book right here is my 8th book. And I have been doing this for the past 5 years. My first book was my most successful, and not a single book since then has reached the sales numbers of around 1,000 that book did. And it was very frustrating to me for a long, long time. I was incredibly down about it. Then I read a few things about independent authors and how 20 books is a good sales number for a lot of authors. Then I got some amazing advice from a great author. His name is Jeff Shara. And he said to me in an email, just write first for you. Put your butt in a chair and write the story that you want to write. and be content with that. Everything else after that is great. It's the gravy. It's the positives beyond your love of what you've written. That idea helped me a lot, and it transfers to my YouTube channel. Now, I'm not saying that's every answer for you, but I'm telling you, if you can somehow try to find some sort of pleasure, joy, and contentment with what you're presenting on YouTube, it'll go a long way to relieving the stress of worrying about YouTube and the stories you're trying to tell. In conclusion, let me say this. The YouTube algorithm doesn't hate you. It doesn't know you. It's a math formula. Now, YouTube runs that algorithm the way they want, and they tweak it and they change it. But it is not against you. You just have to try and keep up with what it's doing. You have to put good content out, pass the first test, because it tests your content with about 100 people. Then it moves it to a different level if you're CTR, and that means content retention, the eyeballs on your video. It goes to a larger test, and so forth and so on. If people watch for a longer time, that's what YouTube wants. That's what the algorithm likes. If your videos do that, the algorithm is going to like you a lot more, but it doesn't hate you. The final thing here is to do this. Treat your viewers like customers, because that's what they are. They are your customers. You want them to view your material, comment to you, like, and subscribe. If you can remember to do that, it will help you an awful lot. And in closing, use your expertise, use your personality, use your knowledge to give something, to go out there and present content that people like. And don't stress over it. It'll be a slow build more than likely. Do the best you can. Present your content professionally and consistently, and enjoy the journey. Hopefully this has been somewhat helpful to you. I wish someone had told me this maybe a year ago when I first got started on YouTube. I think I would have not spent as much time stressing as I did over that year. Until we get back together, probably next Tuesday, I hope you have a great week. Go out with your friends and family and spend some time. It will be the best part of your week. But until we are together again, take care. See you soon. Bye-bye. A little bit damp, kind of drizzly, but really still haven't gotten any kind of rainfall.
Who is that guy?
Ponds way down, pools way down, and the yard really still very dry. We'll take what we got.